Good morning, everyone. Looks like we are ready to rock and roll a little bit on some Java Minecraft in Dadcraft's Java 73, Dadcraft 73's Java Minecraft server. So we will be battling a couple of tech bugs this morning, just because seconds before the stream started this morning, that my OBS decided that it was going to insist on updating, and did a lovely little restart for me, which is fine. But no concerns there. Okay, let's see if we can get this one to cooperate. Do we want to play? Here we go. Okay. So we have some tunage this morning. Let's see if we can... Let's see, you guys can hear it too. Here we go. All right, so it looks like we may be back on board. Maybe kind of, sort of. All right, so as you can see, I'm in Minecraft, and I'm standing at my mob farm, which actually functions relatively nicely. We had some creeper explosions up top, so we had some spots up there that are actually, unfortunately, filled with stone rather than the glass. That's a cosmetic element to be fixed later. I'm not going to worry about it. But I've got myself a little box here done in glass, and you're seeing some really strange edges because I've changed up my texture pack just for a little while. Decided to go something amusingly cartoony. So just give me, there's my diamond armor. I look, strange enough, with the super light blonde hair, I look like I have no hair. Let's just take the hat off. You can see I've got hair, but it's just not really there. In any case, so we've changed up to look a little different, and this is the creator texture pack for 118. Anyways, on the mob farm front, we have been doing a lot of AFK in the last couple of days. So I'm standing on the top chest, and if I open that up, you can see we've got random bits and bobs of all sorts of shapes and sizes. Some of this is actually could probably fit in the lower chests if I remember to check their hoppers to ensure that I don't have a one-off unstackable piece stuck in there. But I doubt it, because the very next chest down, which is this one here, is plumb full, well, just about plumb full of other things. So I'm just gonna, oop, that's not what I want. Well, fine then. I guess I will grab some string. Let's just replace that pile there, and then we'll ditch the gunpowder up top. Let's make it put away. I just wanted a bit more string so that I can make some more scaffolding to work with today. So the other cool feature I've got in here is we talked about putting fire. Now, fire was a bit of a problem because a couple of things up top. Spiders are being jammed up there by two things. One, they can't climb the signs that hold up the lava, which is good from the bottom side, but it also means they could get stuck from the top. The other side of it is that I've got trapdoors up there, so they're stuck in between the two layers when they do manage to catch on the signs. And then that allows me an opportunity. Either they shove each other down, because we've got a 3x3 slot, but with a 3x3 slot, they're not actually causing problems that jam out all the other mobs. So one of the nice perks, though, about having that double layer with the little lip is when the spiders are far enough down, and they actually just cleared out, so I'm having trouble showing you. But anyways, this button doesn't turn off the water up top. I actually decided to skip that feature because we found that I really didn't need it. It didn't matter. But what it does is when the spiders sit up top, I can just hit the lovely little button, and we get some lava pour out there. Set the guys on fire, who often will set each other on fire. There we go, there's another one. And then turn it off again. Now, the reason I wanted to do it by a button accessible from down here and just to be able to turn it on and turn it off is because I discovered the other problem that we have is actually that we've got witches up top. So the witches will actually just sit in the lava and drink their health potions and be perfectly fine. So they just laugh themselves silly. And of course, that does pose a problem for mobcap in the same way that the spiders do. So if you've got the spiders floating around in the water and the witches sitting around on the lava, then everything just seems to slow down. But without that, most of the mobs do go kersplat on the bottom here. Not all of them. Like some of the ones with armor will actually make it down successfully, particularly if they've been assisted by having to go past a spider on their way down, or if they've managed to snag themselves on the trapdoors up top before they come down. So yeah, I've decided that would be a good plan. One of the other suggestions I'd had made to me is I have switched up the blocks up top to be solid blocks rather than the stairs, and I'd originally done that because things like zombies and stuff were just actually sitting on the edge there, and they weren't actually coming down and getting shoved over the edge. Thank you very much, Fantastic Sherlock Fox. We don't need people like that in the chat. By the way, good morning. Hope your morning is going well. In any case, so we actually had problems with those extra mobs hanging around, and but the disadvantage to having the straight edge blocks is actually when I had zombies sticking around at the top, there was a slim chance that they could turn into drowned. So once in a blue moon, if I had a zombie turn into a drowned and then get shoved off the edge, then I actually could have a drowned drop. But I actually decided that in all, that wasn't worth it. I was getting far fewer spawns by going that route rather than actually just letting them spill over the edge entirely. So we'll see. I mean, if I change my mind, I can always switch those out to stairs at the top lip. It's not a huge challenge. So I've got glass in here just so that I can AFK phantomless. But then it's not fully protected on this side, but I can just go down this little tiny bit of scaffolding and go in this little room. And sometimes I just do that because it's convenient, and then I can sleep away the night, right? What's actually kind of amusingly funny, though, is if it gets really busy up top on the next level, that, like mobs just standing up there, then I can't sleep because it complains that there's monsters nearby. I've had a few times... Good morning, Haro, it's me. Yeah, I actually did try to put some thought into it because this is my first floating anything farm. I generally dislike floating stuff. I just find it doesn't do very well for the faux realism that I prefer in Minecraft. But on the other hand, if I'm going to do it, I might as well quote-unquote do it right as much as I can. So we'll see how this turns out. So I've grabbed a couple of bits of string so that when I head back to my main base, I can actually put together, let's take that with me, why not? Put together some more scaffolding because we're going to need it for today's build. Today's build theme is we're going to try and put together a large pixel-based beehive with my current favorite block, you guessed it, terracotta. So I think I've got enough to be able to make this building work, and then what I'm going to do inside it is that's where it's going to become my bee house. You can see I was testing down at the bottom there, it's the triangle. The video that I had watched once off to make sure that I knew what I was doing with this mob farm appeared to have everything stop at the one block before the edge, but of course that's not the case because it would actually flow over the edge down the top, and I was trying to figure out why I was having a problem stopping. So when I watched it again after last Tuesday's build, it occurred to me that I had missed, in the motion of the player, I had missed that they had actually put down 3 blocks. So by putting down 3 blocks, you're actually going to get 3 of these little individual 1-block ends, more or less side by side, and then that solves the problem that I was having. Okay. Just going to pick that up because I really don't need it, and it's kind of ugly. Oops, don't need more water. And then we'll head back to the main base. Clean up, there we go. So we'll head back to the main base and see if we can dig out our terracotta and get a good start. One of the things that occurred to me is I do want to have a bee farm to finish off, or to assist with finishing off, my very large yellow terracotta pajamas. And I decided I wanted honey blocks up at the top. Well, between not having done a bee farm earlier on and not enclosing the set of hives I already had, the bees decided to go walkabout or scarper or whatever you want to call it, but they're not there. They just took off. So I have the hives, including 2 natural ones, but the bees themselves are not there anymore. Waited it out several days just to make sure that I wasn't just seeing them being inside the hive. Yeah, terracotta pajamas. It's not finished. The theme for this base, it's mean, is functional-ish. I mean, that's got to come down. But functional, crossed with, I'm doing some shape builds based on ideas related to mystery books. So the magnifying glass is relatively straightforward. I mean, take your favorite stereotype detective, and then you got magnifying glass references. But this one, the reason I'm doing large yellow pajamas is that's supposed to be referencing... where did I put the ladders? Oh, they're not on the side. Okay. The large yellow pajamas are supposed to be referencing Rex Stout's character Nero Wolfe, who insists on taking his breakfast in his yellow silk pajamas in the morning. So that's why I'm building a very large set of terracotta pajamas. So you can see I've got the honey blocks up the front, and I managed to get that part done before the bees took off. But now I've got 9 beehive boxes that do absolutely nothing. But that's fine. I'm going to leave them there for now while I build the new home. And one of the reasons I'm thinking about doing a large beehive is I'm also looking at, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Sherlock Holmes, so there may be multiple references to that character. But in the meantime, one of the other references to that character that works is either Ian McKellen's film Mr. Holmes, for which I also have the book, but also the Laurie R. King series, The Beekeeper's Apprentice. So I figured in that case it might be kind of fun to take a look at a beehive, like the natural beehive block. I mean, I could do one of these, but I figured looking at the colors, it wouldn't necessarily be that exciting to do a building that looks like this. I mean, it's doable. If I need to expand the bee farm, I might build a second one like this. But I figured I'd start with one that looks more like this design. It's not going to be great because I don't think I have access to colors to replicate every single one of these pixels, whether I go terracotta or something else. But I figured I would do a basic start, and it won't even be this texture pack, actually. I really should be doing this in probably vanilla. Actually, if I'm going to be doing that right, I really should just swap out for vanilla. So let me do that. Oh, hang on a second. Don't need visitors. No, it's not that kind. You can stop moving. Thank you. Goodbye. So I figured it might be kind of fun to build my bee house reference to those titles via like just making a big hive, and then that'll be my bee farm. And once it's enclosed, then it's worth me going on the walk to try and find more bees, or ask very nicely to server mates if I can bring a box and then buy a couple of bees from them, because I really just need enough that I can breed them up. Because I'm not looking for a ton of anything, I'm just looking to be able to use them for building blocks. But because you can't recover your, you can recover the bottles from the honey blocks, so that's a two-way crafting. But the honeycomb that I'm using in the center of the item frames for buttons on this set of pajamas, once you've crafted those into a honeycomb block, or you cannot get them back. So in terms of max flexibility, then I want to do it. The other thing is that I had only 5 more blocks than what you see here, and I put them at the bottom of the mob farm just because I was jumping off ladders and things, and unfortunately had a creeper incident that blew them up, so I'm even more in the hole for that one. Creeper's hole. Sorry, I didn't even intend to make that joke. You're feeling a bit overwhelmed already. What are the yeah, so the sheep are tied up because when terracotta is not my... Well, terracotta this season appears to be my favorite block, but when it's not terracotta, I like having the sheep in the auto-shearing farm for purposes of course, tons and tons of wool. Now these 2 rows you see, they're all white right now, but these 2 rows are going to remain white, just because that's the most flexible block. You can dye whatever color you need as you need it. But then the second 2 rows are the remaining 15 colors, so that I can actually dye them up 1 sheep a piece, which gets me a start with what I'm going at. And I use sometimes wool blocks for laying out designs, because it's a really easy block to put down and then you can quickly break it. So I go through actually quite a lot of wool blocks that end up either floating away, falling and despawning, you name it. The other thing I find really useful is when lacking other materials at the time, I find wool blocks are great for, carpets are great for spawn proofing. So this one is not spawn proofed at the moment. I will probably try and figure out what to use on the top, but maybe a little bit of buttons on the shoulders, possibly. The other thing I might do is experiment with these honeycomb in frames and see if I can lay them down flat. A lot of objects in Minecraft won't let you do that. Like carpets can lay flat if you have the item frame flat, but if you put it on a wall, the carpet will stick out like a shelf. So that's a bit of a drawback. Okay, so let's go in. Rabbit hole. I love it. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. I do my best to try and stick to reading my chat when I can. But I've got, till recently, I actually had a very noisy audio setup, which meant then that for the music, you couldn't hear much. Not hear much, but you couldn't read much. There was far too many notifications of what the song was in the chat. And so I'm still working myself out of the bad habit of kind of ignoring chat because it was filled with far too many, what do you call it? Song notifications, I guess. But yeah, so I've got basically a couple of functional farms. So the one you see near is sugarcane, and the one you just can't see right now, but it's the back of, is the, actually I should go out there because we're going to need some more. The one that we're looking at the back of, identical layout, is just a very basic bamboo auto chop farm. So it grows up and then the observers see it and the pistons punch out and knock the bamboo off. Sometimes it gets stuck up there, but other times it gets picked up appropriately. So I don't know if you guys can hear that. No, okay, good. In behind, difficult to see too. In behind, I've got a rail with a minecart on there, the hopper minecart, and the hopper minecart will pick up suck the bamboo through the dirt block. So when it gets knocked off, it just sits there, and the hopper minecart will pick it up for us. The only difference with the bamboo is, even though the hopper minecart picks it up, bamboo requires water to grow. So I could have waterlogged stairs all through the back, but I figured since I've got to have water anyways, why not put it in the front? And then when the pistons fire, it can fire it into, it can fire it into a flowing water stream. And I just might as well use it if you've got to have it anyways. Oh, villager zombie carousel. No, not quite. I don't know if you've played a lot of Minecraft, but I'm on the Java version of Minecraft, and on Java Minecraft, what the heck is wrong with you? Okay, so I spent some time AFK at my mob farm and didn't sleep. So even though I slept there, the phantoms still decided they wanted to come and get me while they were on fire. So in Java Minecraft, there's a mechanic where if the villagers, you only need 3, but if the villagers are scared by a zombie, then they will spawn a golem, like an iron golem, who will float, of course, over to this block of lava, which hits him in the head and burns him up, and he gets destroyed. Here we go, just like this. Okay, and in Java Minecraft, there's a second version of this mechanic, where if you have, I can't remember if it's 4 or 5, but anyways, you have a small quantity of villagers, they will do the same thing, much slower. So it's sort of a social mechanic. They chit-chat with one another and then decide to spawn a zombie. Not a zombie, sorry. They decide to spawn an iron golem. I initially had that version of the farm in here just because I don't like dealing with mobs. And unfortunately, that was just going slow enough that I was having trouble building my magnifying glass. I just could not get enough iron to make it doable. So I upgraded or switched it up to the zombie version. Now, under these carpets, let's pull them off for a second here. Under these carpets, I've got I've got a lever which is supposed to turn off the farm. It doesn't really do much. Like, it actually supposed to change that up, but I made a mistake in a version where it doesn't actually do a whole lot. Now, the reason I left it is actually because if I reverse this is a daylight sensor. So if I reverse this and it's looking for night, then it drops the piston, you can see that the villagers don't really see the zombie, so they chill out and relax. And then if I were to turn this on, then it shoves the zombie back up again. So I can turn it, like force turn it on, right? Or do it that way. Now I had it reversed in such a way that the glass you see inside was actually up top instead, but then it turned out the farm didn't turn off at all. The reason I've got the daylight sensor in there is that for myself, I discovered that if you keep the zombies going and going and going, as in like always scaring the villagers like this, such that they cannot sleep, then eventually the villagers sort of desensitized to it. I mean, they're still frightened by the zombie visually, but they stop spawning golems. I found for my own purposes that having the farm function only during the daytime produced far more iron than I needed. Like, it actually sped up the process quite a lot. So these are the iron blocks that I've got that I haven't used from that farm. So every once in a while I go over here and I clean it out and turn those into blocks. And I take the flowers that get dropped and I have to put them over here into the composter for some more bone meal. This may seem advanced, and yeah, I do agree. It took me a while to get to this point. I actually really like to stay in a very basic level of Minecraft. It's not that do more. I mean, as a group, I've killed the dragon, been to the other dimension of the Nether, etc. But I enjoy the building. I enjoy the mundaneness of the farming and such. Like, I only have a few cows here, which they really do need to be bred up. And up here, this is a little more, nice. And this texture pack, that's cool. Those are the cocoa beans from the jungle. But this part looks fairly advanced, and it's actually the most advanced melon and pumpkin farm that I've built yet. But the concept behind that one is actually fairly straightforward, even for someone who doesn't have a whole lot of experience. Basically what happens, long story short, so your melon or your pumpkin stem grows up, your product grows to the side, but when that happens, this one with the arrow on it, that's one of the observers. It senses the change in growth state of the stem. So when it does that, it actually has a little dot on the back. So it will charge this block with redstone power, which charges the dot of redstone you see sitting on top of this spot here, which is a piston. And then, of course, that comes down and squashes whatever it is. By squashing it, it releases it to float around on this dirt block. Then from there, you can see the rails at the bottom. I've got another one of those minecarts with a hopper in it. And as I mentioned before, the hoppers can suck through blocks. So it will suck down the melon. And then, or the melon pieces, it's melon pieces or pumpkins. It will suck those downwards. And then, this is the more complicated bit I had to learn. And actually, now that I've done it, I will probably do this for a lot of farms in future. So this piece, what it actually does, I'm not sure if I can easily explain it. So if you can see my crosshairs, there's a hopper down here where the cart will stop. Okay? What happens there is underneath in here, and I think I can show this part. Let's pull up this block. Yeah. This one here. So I've got it. This is a comparator. The comparator is measuring this hopper. Okay? So when the minecart comes over and it stops on the hopper in the minecart, it's got stuff in it, will dump an item into the hopper below through the rail. That's the nice part about it. It's nice and through. So when this hopper basically sucks a piece out of the minecart, this comparator will detect that. So it spits out a power signal to this block. Now this block is actually spitting one out back, I think. Is it? Yeah, so it's spitting one out back, which turns off this torch. This is a redstone torch. So power in this block will turn off the redstone torch. When the torch is on, it powers this block, which doesn't actually have anything on it. It's just a block, right? But this block being powered will in turn power a repeater. Okay, so just literally repeats the signal through it. But repeaters, whatever signal they get into them, they will shove it out at full strength at the other side. So if you get a one level of redstone piece, shove it through the other side at full strength. So this full strength will power this rail. That's a power rail. So how this whole thing works is when the hopper comes by, or the cart comes by, if it has anything in it, then it will start pulling into the hopper below, which this thing will sense and on. But what that does is reverses this to make the torch off, which turns off the top part. So if this block is not powered, then the rail won't be powered, which means the cart will sit there for longer. You can see it turn off. It sits there basically until it's empty, so the last piece is gone from the hopper below, and then that flips the whole process the other way. I had never built it that way before. A lot of the farms I had built up to this point actually just had just a hopper, like the sugarcane and so on, just had a hopper with a minecart to collect things, but there was no on and off system. Part of that one I don't mind is because the run is so short that it's just going to keep bouncing back and forth and fill the hoppers. But the advantage in this one, of course, is because you have such a long route that if you don't manage to dump everything, there is a chance that you can fill up the hopper on the cart, so you run out of storage space on the cart before you ever get everything dumped into the other part of the system. It's big, so it works out that way. The water in the middle, of course, and on this side, accounts for the watering of the farm, because it's only 8 blocks wide. It does feel like a job in some cases, but the thing I like about playing Minecraft is it's a job in as far as you make it a job. So if you want to be super active and build lots of things, then you can. But you can always keep it simple. Like, I'll show you another farm I've got over here, which is very, very simple and maybe more your particular taste. I find that melons and pumpkins grow fairly well together. And once you can get if you have a farmer, like, or you're in a village and you've got a farmer, if you can get past basic things like wheat, there's my wheat farm. If you can get past basic wheat or basic carrots at the top to get to melons and pumpkins, they actually have a better return with the villagers on emeralds. Well, thank you very much for following Harrowitz Meme. I'm really glad. You're welcome any day. Yeah, so I'll finish up telling you about the farms real quick, and then I'll give you a quick rundown on my schedule. So, my stream schedule, that is. So, once you get past the carrots or the wheat for the farm villagers, so these ones are fishermen, but if you want to get past them, the farm villagers, I find that the other ones have a better return on emeralds, so then you can trade with other people. This big building in the back with the white roof doesn't look all that great from way down here, and doesn't look all that great from standing on it, but it fits with the book concept. So we've kind of got the cover of the book, and then the white is supposed to represent the pages. Okay, I can sleep out here because this tone that you see around the zombie in the farm is actually path blocked. So I've right-clicked on the dirt to make it a path. Okay, so that means that nothing can spawn on there. And that's why the only place for the golems to spawn was up in top. So I'm going to hang out here while I tell you. Just before I do derail real quick, squirrel, you'd asked about the carousel or the farm. So you can see that when it hit nighttime, the zombie got dropped down, which meant the villagers could calm down. They realize it's night, so they go to bed. And that will reset them to be sensitive to the zombie scaring them in the morning. Okay, so farm. This is more your style. I find that I really like the return on carrots compared to wheat, because it takes... here... Do I have any? Nope. Okay. It takes 3 pieces of wheat to make bread, but the bread itself is not as filling as eating the equivalent number in carrots. So you don't get as much of your health, like your hunger level, filled up if you eat bread, as you do for carrots. However, going the other way, if you want a low return on bone meal, but you are looking to compost something to try and get that, then I find in that case wheat's great because it gives you tons of extra seeds, and it's super early game because you can get the seeds for the wheat from just smacking down some grass as in like beating it up and it'll drop seeds for you. Okay. Most farms, actually, I shouldn't say most farms, all farms should keep growing overnight if you keep it lit. So we mentioned that water can only run 4 blocks deep. So what I've done here is in the center, you can see there's a slab there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went out from there. That's the max distance the water would run. So I've got a water block in the center. But you can do what's called water logging a slab. And so that means that if I've got the water in there and I put a slab on top, doesn't have to be wood, it could be stone, it could be anything else you can make a slab out of. You can cover up that hole, which then makes it level like the top of a regular block and allows you to put a torch or a lantern or something like that on top of it to provide light from the center. You can also torch the outsides or the corners. I haven't had to on this one. And you're seeing a little bit of a weird glow, like it's lit up. Not from the torches outside, but these are actually, I've used extra pumpkins and turned them into jack-o'-lanterns, the lit up variety. So you need 2 ingots of iron to make So 2 ingots of iron will make you a pair of shears. Okay. The shears will get you the face on, I don't have it on this one. I think I left it in the box. Okay. The shears will get you a face on the pumpkin. Then when you craft that pumpkin with a stack of torches, you'll get a jack-o'-lantern. The jack-o'-lanterns give out light, particularly from the face on the lantern, the lit up light. So I don't really need these many. I could make that many, so why not? So I've ringed my entire farm with those. It works as a border, but it also works as a bit of a light source. So by lighting up things with a border, you can actually see that, or it will help it keep growing overnight. Yeah. So I really appreciate your follow-up. That's actually makes me smile. Thank you very much for that. I always welcome in players of all levels. There are quite a few people. Let me think correctly. This is actually a server run by, might as well sleep it off here, run by Dadcraft73. So he's a YouTube creator and a Twitch streamer. So I'm one of his patrons via like Patreon. And so what he does is that he's set up a Java server, a Bedrock server, and a modded Minecraft server, which is Java based, for his Patreon members. Okay. So those people get to play on a multiplayer server. I don't see anybody else on the server right now, but sometimes we have about 4 or 5 all at once. But we decided a couple of months ago as a group that once a month we would actually all take turns streaming, and that we would all take turns showing off what we've built, what we were doing. But the other thing that's nice about it is that if you get into a pinch and you need something you really can't get hold of, or you need to go somewhere that you find is beyond your personal skill, or sometimes you just need a pair of hands to get something done faster, then you can usually ask a server mate to come and help you out. I do have several solo worlds as well, and those are great. I just decided that I want to be on a multiplayer server because it allows me to, well, for one, sometimes have people to chat with who are on the server right then and can help out if I run into a challenge that I don't understand. But another thing I like about being on a multiplayer server is that when you have multiple people to play with, then sometimes people will make community builds. Another popular thing to do on multiplayer servers. Can't count. Yeah, that should do. Another thing to do on multiplayer servers that's popular is sometimes people will put together like a marketplace where different players choose to have a store and they specialize in a particular product. So, for example, you just pick up a bunch of yellow terracotta. I don't have a shop. I don't even recall actually off the top of my brain whether or not this season our server has a shop. But when people do have shops, then they'll specialize. So like I could have gone and sold terracotta, and then I just would have to take repeated trips out from time to time to replenish the supplies. And I don't remember if I'm going to need that one, so let's leave that behind. Oh, I don't think I need red. Actually, might as well take these 3 with me, just because I've got them. Okay. I don't need those pants, so let's throw them in here. One of the things that I do want to mention to early players, so if you haven't done a whole lot of hours on there, but you're running into a challenge, is particularly for food sources, one of the really early game things is a lot of us more old school players will build a furnace. Okay, that's the 8 cobblestone, which is what a lot of people do, and then it only does 1 item at a time. One of the more new, quote-unquote, newfangled items is there's a campfire in there, and I highly recommend players, particularly when they're looking for cooked food sources to give them more energy, I highly recommend those players consider building campfires instead of cobblestone furnaces for 2 reasons. Is that one, sometimes you can get those even slightly earlier game without having to do as much in the way of super basic mining. Another reason for it, let's see, B bucks. Another reason I recommend that is that you can do 4 pieces of cooked food at once, and you don't need to worry about fuel for the fire. It just keeps burning. So you don't have to worry about running out of coal or running out of wood to burn. So that gives you a bit of a bonus to work with early on when materials are at a premium. Yeah, so I'm going to tear this down. I wrote this sign. It says, "Condemned, the builder didn't read the manual on spawning mechanics." Basically, there's... the idea behind these farms will work. They're just basically dark tunnels. But what I didn't pay attention to was that I would, in essence, have to build them more or less on an island, because otherwise mobs will spawn within all of this other zone, and you don't get anything inside the building. So that was just kind of a dumb on my part. Okay. So these boxes that open and close are definitely not early game boxes. These are something you pick up by killing the shulker critters that live in the end. Okay, so yeah, they live in the end part of the world, and it takes 2 shulker shells to make a shulker. Let's see here. Oops. So in any case, let's move on and see about putting out my shulker monster of boxes, and then we'll get going on the build. I apologize. I didn't realize that Horowitz meme learned they had to go. So yeah, sorry that I missed them. They'll be glad to get them back. But hey, hope I can help somebody out. Anytime, for anybody who's anybody who happens to be here, I guess is probably a better way of putting it. I always love to help out new players when I can, because that's part of how I started, was watching a video series designed for brand new players. Fantastic Sherlock Fox, it may just be you and me, but that's okay. So, any case, let's see if I can get... I'm trying to remember... 3. How do I put on... chunk borders? I think it's this one? Nope, that's not it. I'm trying to remember how I did that. Shoot. I can't remember. No? Hitboxes. No, I don't need hitboxes. Seems like a quiet Thursday. If you've got a second Fantastic Sherlock Fox, can you quickly Google for me the way to quickly turn on Java chunk borders? I can't remember, but I'm thinking I don't really want my bees to be despawning, because I think that other farm may actually be crossing a chunk, and that could have explained partly why they disappeared on me. But if I can avoid doing that with this one, then that would be great. In the meantime, because I've got the space, I'm going to... Oops, I didn't bring a crafting table. Guess I'm going to have to go over here and steal this one. I'm going to take a second to build a little bit of scaffolding and then tear down my old disgusting farms that are of no use. Yeah. So that we can make some progress. That's okay. Some of the most busy people maybe having other things to do. I mean, March is one of those ones where the seasons start to change in some parts of North America, and so people get busy with other projects. Besides, we talked about it in the past that streaming is actually also for me. So, I mean, if there's nobody here, I will still stream. And if you need to head into a meeting or something, then I will still stream. You know, so that's how that works. Let's see if I've got... Oops. I made a mistake and forgot to turn something on. And I can't spell. Nope, that's okay. All right. Oops, I hit the wrong button. There we go. Okay. But being as it seems we've just got one viewer, we will have to see whether or not we actually make it to the correct spot or to the correct level this month. I don't really know how the affiliate thing works. The intent with the overlays was actually to try and get it to record where I was actually at with regards to affiliate. But it looks like the 30 days element may be counted differently from one program to another. Okay, so F3 plus G. Let's see what we can get. Oh, there we go. I guess I didn't hit it right the first time. Okay, so we are inside the chunk border. I believe it's supposed to be 16. And you know what? Just as I mentioned earlier, since I've got a ton of sheep wool, I might as well go and get some of that and use it for laying things out. Thank you very much for looking that up. That helps a lot. So for curiosity's sake, while I'm here, yeah. So chunk border went through part of that farm-ish group, so that may partially explain where the bees had gone to. They're sort of in, yeah, they're sort of in it and sort of not. So that could be where they went to. But in any case, I want wool. And I might as well sleep. And then steal this bed. Okay, I can't sleep. Wool. That should do. Good morning, Arch Thunder. Hopefully you're having a good day. So today's theme is, is new players, farm tours, and bees. So most commonly, or most of the point today is attempting to start a bee box. Attempting to start a bee box that looks something like a beehive. And if I can do it right, I think this spot looks cool. I'm going to tear down that nonsense. You can see I just started a corner while Fantastic Shot Fox was looking up something for me. But I think if I do it right, for once, it might be in the chunk border, because I actually messed up. But aside from forgetting to pen in my other bees, I did not actually watch where the chunk borders were. And I built in such a way that it went over the line, so to speak. And yeah, so chunk borders were a thing. That's okay. You know, we'll just see how it goes and see if I can do any better this time around. By the way, Arch, I'm just oddly curious, because I've got family up there. How's the weather in Edmonton these days? Because my kids were actually quite envious of their cousin who lives in Edmonton, because their cousins had a lot of more opportunity for sledding than our kids have. So they were a little envious of the fact that their cousin got to go do that. We went sledding yesterday down here, but it's a little bit... We've got snow today, but we're still more or less skidding on ice. So we just wanted to see how it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. 14. That doesn't look right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, I missed the other two. 15, 16. Meh, it's winter. 10 and light snow. That's not bad. Yeah, your snow does stick around better. I like Calgary for a lot of reasons, but there are times that Edmonton is where it's at. I'm not, as Fantastic Shark Fox will very much verify, I'm not a fan of Chinooks. I like Chinooks because I like kites. I hate Chinooks because I have sensitive ears. I also don't like Chinooks because it makes it very difficult to plan for temperature changes. I mean, you can always put on layers and take off layers and so forth, but having the right stuff with you at all times is not always easy. So, yeah. I just don't like that whole shifting weather thing. I spent almost a year, I guess, in Lethbridge, and wowee, for sensitive ears, Lethbridge is not the place to be. On the other hand, I mean, we've played games like horizontal skydiving, college kids and all that. So I tried to be down there for a year of college when the community college down there was actually with the college down there, it was actually a community college. And now it's a full-fledged college, so I'm not really sure why they changed, but it has to do with their offerings, I'm sure. But anyways, yeah, we'd play horizontal skydiving games, so whoever could jump the furthest would, like, buy pop or something for lunch or whatever. It depended on the crowd I was with. Whether it was, like, the first round of alcoholic drinks or whether it was something a little bit more mundane. But it's just kind of amusing when you can lean out into the wind and get yourself like a 35 plus degree angle, just leaning straight into the wind, and that we try to jump forward with all your might, you actually go backwards. But Edmonton's weather, I like it because it's more consistent. Also in Edmonton, I really like the terrain. It's not great in terms of ice and snow. If you guys do get slick roads, you do get a lot of accidents, but I noticed that you guys don't get slick roads quite as often as we do down here because you guys don't have the freeze and thaws. But yeah. Kind of funny, actually, when you first told me what the temperature was, my brain was kind of going, okay, do I have to convert that? Because I'm so used to hearing Dadcraft's crew talking about temperatures and then having to convert to Fahrenheit because they don't understand each other. I find metrics so much easier to understand. Apparently there is some sort of logic to the Fahrenheit system. I've just never really figured out what it is, and they have such an esoteric way of converting things. It's such an odd number. But that's okay. That's their prerogative. Yeah, Chinook headaches are a pain in the butt too. I'm not a fan of that. Because multiple people in our household are actually prone to Chinook headaches, or you can find the pressure changes. The other thing I don't like about Chinooks is because it often causes so much melting, then we end up having to shovel snow and chip ice far more frequently than you guys up north. Just because things will melt, and then of course the Chinook ends and it freezes and rinse and repeat. Okay, where is my reference picture? So, I'm going to start with... open up. Reference pictures on tablets are all well and good until I forget which pictures go first. Okay. We're going to go for, I believe, brown is my first color. If I don't like the way this looks, then I will change it up with a different product anyways. Oh, wrong one. That one. This one, yeah, okay, that's a random one. I actually need to go on the other end, just so that I don't mix it up. because that was actually some of the bits and bobs left over from building my shulker, or not shulker, sorry, my mob farm, which, by the way, does function, so I'm pleased with that. Okay, do I have brown? Yes, I do. And I want some light gray. And let's see, what other color do I want? Brown and light gray, and I need a third one. Can't seem to decide. Brown concrete, no way. Well, we'll start with laying it out, and I'll change the design as we go. Because I need something darker than what I've got, and I don't have it with me, but that's alright. Start with my current favorite block, and we'll see where we get on this one. So, for orienting where everything's going to go, I think I'm going to center it around this part of the farm, so the face of the hive will be on this side, because on the far side of the building, the book building out there, is where I've got my portal. So I'm assuming then I really only need the hive look on this side. But if I do change my mind, I can always put another one on the opposite side. There. Okay. Yeah. Well, leaf blowers. Is yours electric? Or is it run by something else? Just curious, not a personal fan of... Oh, I see. Okay. Not a personal fan of the gas leaf blower concept when you're just blowing snow. But that's just because I agree with the Californians. They put in a law recently where they wouldn't allow it. Doesn't mean that it's, inappropriate or something, but we're just kind of curious about that. The other thing about it, though, is the... some of the gas ones that people use around here in our neighborhood are very, very noisy. So, yeah. A little challenging. By the way, thanks for your opinion on the roofers that were in our neighborhood. Just, some of them are being kind of weird, and it's nice to be able to have an idea from somebody who's somewhat in the know as to whether or not some of the practices we were seeing were normal, as in normally fast, or if they were being crazy in terms of being like multi-layering things and so on. So it was really helpful to have somebody who had some idea of that industry. Closest I ever got to that industry when I worked was receptionist for an industrial electrical company. So they don't really know much of anything. Let's see. I wanted concrete, black. Okay, I see where I'm going with this. I will have to change up some of this design, but I will do it probably off camera, so I'll build it in one way. And then... Oh, actually, no, I need... Where's the white? White concrete. Where did I put it? No, not there. Did I even... It's white. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Got the 3 colors I want. Okay. Brown, light gray. Oops. Wrong screen. I'm trying to like Alt-Tab on the wrong screen. Yeah. So the reference shot I have is actually of someone else's design for the hive, and I quite liked the way it looked, so I'm going to start with their design, and then I can always tweak it to my own afterwards. I just have to remember which one's which. Okay. So I've got things in the wrong places. Yeah, gas in early morning. It would be not my favorite. We also see a lot of the people who use those are the people who use them after work, so they get home from the office or whatever, and then they blow off the snow that accumulated over the day. So I can't blame them in that respect, because they really do a half-decent job cleaning up the neighborhood, so might as well. On, you silly thing. The only disadvantage for copying a screen when you're on an iPad is that sometimes it goes dark on you. You gotta wake it up. But also, it wants to keep the Unlike a desktop machine, it doesn't time out the play pause section that lays over top of the video. So I have to keep remembering to swipe that away. Okay, 1, 2. Like this. Oh, I see what I needed. Oops. Yeah, I will need that brown concrete quicker than I had originally thought. That's okay, we can go find ourselves a little bit of gravel. There should be some nearby. Okay. So I won't have a whole lot of space for that, which means I should probably have another box. I thought I brought an extra one. Uh-oh. I think I only picked up 2 from my mob farm. Oh well. Let's see. Do I have a space? Yeah, I'll just chuck some stuff in here. And things I don't probably need for this particular project. White wool, stairs. Definitely don't need stairs. Okay, that'll get us some space to work with. And put things away. And if I move pieces down, then I can get what I'm looking for quickly. Okay, so let's go find some gravel. And some... Oh! Gravel. Yeah, this hole's great. I just have to be careful because I know this other side of the hole over here loves to spawn drowns on me. So I just have to watch my back just a little bit. It also goes down really, really far. Oops, wrong way. And this shovel is a little more speedy than I had originally expected. That's fine. Good part about having a trading farm is it's one of the first times I've actually ever had the luxury of working with a respiration hat and an aqua affinity and all those pieces. So this part is not as painful as it could be. Come back here. There we go. What do we got? 39. No, not quite. Not quite enough. I guess we'll grab some more sand while I'm here. Oops. Yeah, no, I get the gas leaf blowers thing when it's when it actually is like an industrial reason that you need to actually ensure your path is dry. But if you're just removing it because you don't like it or it's unsightly or some such personal taste, you know. And the other thing is that because they are more effective at lifting a heavier quantity of snow, then I can see why people would be using that style. Like, for example, over here, we see more gas ones probably in Calgary than you do simply because with all the Chinooks and stuff, we tend to get the heavier wet snow more frequently than you do. But the other thing is that if you're doing it for an industrial reason, then there's going to be a much greater need to lift more quickly. So I can see that they want to get things done faster. It's, economical and all that. So I can make more concrete later on if I have to. Just wanted to get the first row done because as I work my way up the side, I don't need a whole lot of concrete all at once. But let's go get some of those cocoa beans and get this concrete built. Working. Yeah. The lack of safety really bothered both of us, as you can tell. Fantastic Sherlock Fox and I were a little bit bothered when our roofers, our roofers were pretty good actually, but a lot of more than we were comfortable with in terms of roofers for the rest of the neighborhood. A bunch of them some of them were wearing harnesses and forgoing clipping in, so they had that appearance of being safe. Some of them just didn't bother with harnesses or anything like that at all. And some of them, they would just hang out off the edge of the roof a lot, and it made me uncomfortable, I guess. but they got done what they need to get done, I guess, and nobody died, as far as I know. The other part of those, I mean, some of them early on were doing it during a period that wasn't quite so snowy, so things weren't so slick. I could see why they might get tempted not to use harnesses and stuff, particularly when you're dealing with a lot of a roof all at once. It can be easy to catch ropes and things on stuff, and some of the actual workers probably may have felt that their progress was impeded, although I'm always one that prefers safety over silliness. Okay, can I make... Actually, let's see what I can do. So let's just check that. I need it as dye, okay. Let's see if I can go with brown. I'm just lazy. Brown concrete. No! Come on. You should be able to search by that. There we go. The brown dye. Fine. Be that way. All right. There. Okay, so we've got some to work with, and I'm trying to remember which color scheme this one is, so to know which blocks I'm replacing. Just gonna take a quick second to throw this one on top and see what it looks like. Was that... Oh, that's concrete powder. Okay, so I forgot to... Aha. I forgot to wet it. That's what those buckets were kept for. Nope. Where did I put them? Here. Let's make a concrete hole. Hello. So this is only temporary, which is why I don't really care about making it all tidy and nice and stuff. So it's not a super efficient concrete creator because I don't, at this point in time, intend to have a whole lot of concrete. So it's a bit of a bland block. It doesn't seem to matter to me which, what's the word? Format you use. And I'm fully intending to jump off this, just so you guys are aware. I know that I will take damage. But I realized halfway up that this is not the smartest thing to do. You know, with neck badges getting trapped in office equipment, it's in front of you. I seriously wonder about people deciding that... Oh, missed. Oh well. I seriously wonder about people who can't seem to figure out how to keep their neck lanyard out of the equipment. I don't know. It seems like one of those things that should be a bit more obvious in terms of how you do it. You know, for the brief second you're working with whatever it is, tuck it in your shirt or throw it over your shoulder or something. But I actually saw one guy who, I don't know how this particular individual managed it to get up that morning, but he was seriously having issues with his identification badge. He had one of those waist clip things, which should have been far enough from the center that it didn't pose a problem, but we all had a chuckle and were trying to draw straws as to see who was going to tell him that he had managed on one of his washroom breaks to zip his identification into his fly, because nobody wanted to tell him. So yeah, we have bad manners in that office. Okay. I think I will put that one in here. But name badges and safety are, I guess, paramount to a lot of companies, and really should be. You know, we don't really want dead people or injured people. Nobody likes that, besides the fact that it damages the equipment as you go by. There's a block in here I'm not recognizing. I think I figured out where the concrete goes, but I'm not really sure Light gray. Huh. Okay. But I'm not really sure where those other ones go, but that's okay. We'll figure it out as we go. Because that's not right. Let's put these boxes down lower so I can actually see what I'm doing on this bottom row. 1, 2. Here we go. Nearly nighttime already. My, time flies when you're trying to build. This one, like the other tall build I've got going that's unmob-proofed at the top, probably will be a bit of a pain for mob spawnage for a while. But I'm not too concerned because sometimes it takes longer to mob-proof as you go than it does to just do it. Okay, reference pick. I don't like this one in here, so I think I'll put in concrete powder and then swap it out after. I just need something that's got a little bit of a different color. Not that. There we go. Okay, bedtime. Ticky, 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 ticky. So it was kind of a relief last night to see, I mean, I really like the stuff, don't get me wrong, but it was a relief last night to see a bit of a difference by having Dadcraft work on Truly Bedrock. I like his work on other channels, on other things, on, what was the other piece he was doing? On Bingo. But the thing for me about Bingo is on a small screen, like when one's using a phone, for example, it's much, much harder to see. The other thing I find challenging on that, like even when it's in landscape, but the other thing I find challenging on Bingo is that it's so high-paced that not only can he not chatter with his viewers, but also that his viewers who are doing other things, like I'm doing other things right now, then we don't necessarily get the opportunity to focus on what we're doing either, unless we're one of those people who doesn't have a fear of missing out. I mean, I'm one of those people, so if I don't watch stuff, I have this impression that I'm going to miss out on something important. Whether or not it really was important is highly debatable. But yeah, so because of that, I just I'm not a huge fan of the Bingo, but the other part of it is that DC can get really riled up really, really easy, and while some people think that's incredibly funny to get him riled up, I find it a little bit caustic and poisonous sometimes. So it just means periodically I need to take breaks, right? But actually that's another reason too why I enjoy playing other games once a week. So I play Abduction right now on Wednesdays. And I like that partly because of just a bit of variety. I can handle people being a little bit more wound up, I guess, if I'm not playing that same game that same day. The expected exception I make, I guess, in that one is that can't count. Okay, there we go. Yeah, the exception did I bring no, the one kind I don't have. Okay, well we use green because it's ugly enough that it will remind me to swap it out later. Pardon me, the one kind I didn't have. I needed black there, but I only need about half a dozen blocks on the face of it because there's 3 at the top of each of the doors for the hive, and then I never need it again. So I don't mind swapping it for green right now because that's clear enough to get rid of it. Okay, so no, I don't mind people being wound up and stuff, but I just find that if they're constantly caustic, then I want to play something different, which allows me far more patience with their game later on. All right, so let's get back to where we were. Green, one. No, not there. All right, this one and this one. There we go. But I understand for sure. Like, I could totally support why Dadcraft would not be. What did I do there? I don't need this stuff. Anyways, I understand why he would not be playing tons of Truly Bedrock when he's in the middle of trying to make videos, because he gets ahead of himself with his videos. Or not his videos, sorry. He gets ahead of where his videos need to be by using his stream times. Sorry. And getting ahead of himself that way can make it challenging for his videos. So I totally see why he wouldn't want to jeopardize that. It's difficult to be a creator in multiple places. Okay. Am I going to play on the modded server with the new pack? I didn't actually hear what the new pack is, Arch. Do you have the ability to refresh my memory on that one? As I don't know what that new pack actually is. Did I put the wrong stuff in there? 1, 2. Oh. Oops. This one's wrong. Yeah, I don't know what the new one is. I probably won't, just because with this game I perpetually feel behind. Yeah, so I'm perpetually feeling behind with Java Minecraft. Always like I'm not as far ahead as the other players or whatever, and that impression means that I probably won't be playing another server, although one of the advantages to the mod packs are that they what's this? How am I not having? Sorry, I have multiple different shades of brown. 1, 2. Counting, I think I have 4 different shades of brown to work with. And I only have 3 on my bar. Concrete. Weird. Just taking a look at my list of supplies. Supplies! Yes. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's an extra texture in my reference picture that I swear I'm not seeing in the game. Yeah, in my list of supplies. Okay. That's okay, I'll have to figure it out. I think it's sort of Seopolis, but underground instead of underwater. Cave factory. Possibly, but unlikely. It's not that I don't like mod packs. I'm not a Sky Factory person. I'm not an island person, I guess. Although Stone Block did appeal to me at one point, because although you start out with a really small room, it's a little bit like Breakout, where you've got a challenge to try and see if you can figure out how to do things. And how to make your place bigger as you need it, which is fine, but there's no voids to fall off of. Yeah, I definitely think it'd be fun to watch. I would like, if possible, I would actually like to see some streamers from there, from Dadcraft servers, just because I like the style of the sort of people that hang out in Dadcraft's community. But we haven't seen any from the modded servers yet, at least not beyond Tofu, which I don't know why, but he seems to prefer to do his own thing, and I'm good with that. It's just that and I wasn't quite sure what the reasoning was, if there was one, but why he didn't want to get in on stream weekends. So, who knows? Who knows? Okay, then I can back up. What have I got? That's not looking right. There is something really wrong with this. I'm sure I'll figure it out after. And do a bit of a facepalm going, why did I think that? Oh. Actually, I do have an extra texture. Okay, so I've got Brown. Same brown. Different brown. Still different brown. So far, so good. Keep hitting the wrong buttons. Let's see. Can my system handle? I'm firing up another program just so I can have multiple different locations for the notes. And trying to see if it can handle those notes at the same time as I stream. Seems like it. Oh, maybe. Oh no, I'm dropping 1 or 2 frames here. Still 0% overall, but we're not great. There we go. Okay. I have a suspicion that in my parts list I named brown concrete, but I forgot to name brown concrete powder, which is a big difference when it comes to colors, because I think this row is supposed to be brown concrete powder. It just looks a little bit better. So let's try taking these out and see what it looks like. 2. I also did not leave myself a hole to get through, so hence the scaffolding that goes up and down. All right, so this one, let's try wall, please. Thank you. The other thing that's funny is getting up on top and trying to figure these things out backwards. Like from the other side and mirror flipping it in my head. Okay. 1, 2, 3, back up. How does that look? That looks really strange from the bottom, but it might look better when I get closer to the top. I'll take a quick nip around the back side. It's also funny that on one side of the farm it's raining, and on the other side of the farm it's not. And yet, if you stand right about here, the biome switches enough to get rain. Well, not there, but the biome switches enough to get rain, but you're not actually on. Yeah, it's not on a chunk border, which is funny because I always assumed that it would be, but apparently it's not. Yeah, I never thought of that before. I was today years old when I learned that was the case. DJ's hardware, not DC's. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, Fantastic Sherlock Fox. Just give me a quick sec to see if I missed something. Yeah, CJ did do a few streams from Seopolis. You're right. You're right. Sorry. What I meant is they weren't a part of the stream weekends. So it would I would love to see one of the stream weekend people do some modded stuff, just because it'd be good to showcase everything that Dadcraft servers have to hold or have to offer. Yeah. One of the things I did discover after having tried Sebtech is that your hardware doesn't even have to be. Yeah, your hardware doesn't even have to be running the pack to be challenged. So, for example, with, as I said, with Sebtech as just my sort of case in point, I guess you could say, that I noted sometimes my computer would choke a little bit initially, but then when I played one of DC's other packs off of his server, my computer had a similar choke. So I do not know precisely why that happened. Okay, there's 2 blocks there. Oh, good. Okay, my math worked out. On the other hand, it could have been. Oh, the light just went on. Stuff that. Go away. Stuff that I thought was terracotta, or if it wasn't terracotta, was actually this. Okay, so I've got some brown concrete powder in here in places that it doesn't need to be, because what it really should have been is actually just undyed terracotta. That would look a lot better, I think. Where did I put that? Let's get the concrete powder out of here and see about that. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. In the mod pack I've got, sorry, let me correct that. In the texture pack I've got going, it's a little bit of a redder color. So I think I'm going to have to swap texture packs here just so that I can get it to look the way I want it to. Okay, options, resources. Let's take these out. Love them, but sometimes. Yeah, I do actually wonder if CJ's experience with that particular streaming adventure, trying to do the previous pack stream, may have actually had something to do with why this time around, now that he's trying, I think it's better Minecraft, why now that he's trying that he's definitely got his better Minecraft on a different server, so that he can actually get it to work properly. Come on. Interesting. Okay, so while this is loading, I'm just going to try and make sure that we've got everything functioning here, because I had a different tech challenge as well. But in the meantime, there we go, it's coming back. One of the things you can do in OBS is to actually have a link in via the WebSockets, but for some reason it just does not want to save my password correctly, which is a bit of a shame. Oh well, we'll have to deal with that later. That's fine. It just means that some of the stuff I've got all set up to talk to OBS via Stream Deck buttons is not happening today, but that's okay. If I ever have a stream without a tech issue, that'll be a day to celebrate. And thankfully, it's not the third-party plugins and so on that I'm working with. Alright, so yeah, terracotta without the dye, I think, is going to be the right color, because it's definitely got a much more brown tone in the original texture pack than it does when I was using the creator pack. And I look far more blocky and, I don't know, bland maybe is the word? I'm not sure. From the backside. Okay, let's go up and get this show on the road now that I've got the whys and the wherefores of my color tones. Pardon me. Wow. Never would have thought that instant oatmeal would make me want to be bubbly. That's a new one. And this is a very exciting row. Yeah, your personal hardware actually surprised me, because I believe when we were trying to run SevTech, I was hosting, but I was hosting it on my laptop. But Fantastic Sherlock Fox was playing on I believe, his Surface. I can't remember if that was his Surface or if that was on the laptop we eventually ended up giving to our son. He'd remember better than I would. Oops. Okay, so now we need to go for some yellow tones, because we're getting a little bit higher up here. So I'm going to need, if I can find it, I've got, wrong box. No, not orange. I brought the white box, didn't I? Okay, this one. Okay, I've got yellow terracotta tones. What else did I put in my list? Tab. Yellow. Yellow concrete. Whee! Okay, so that means we're back to a little bit more concrete build, because that concrete's very, very yellow. But at the same time, I'm also going to need some of the dyes I've got left over up here on purpose. So one of the disadvantages as far as stream content goes is just-in-time materials creation. While that seems to be my forte, it also means that making things on the fly happens during stream, because I didn't necessarily think I needed them in advance. Okay, what do I have here? Let's take some of these. Can I get... There we go. Oh, come on, you. No. Okay, brown. Yellow concrete powder, thank you. 32 will at least get me started enough that I can get some more done for the stream. And then I can make some more off camera. And I'm going to have 3 block water sources all over the place. Because I've realized I've left one up by the other side of the pens there. One there, and I've got another one to fall in here. But if I do it properly this time, I actually will probably do this a different way. Oops. Let's put this one down at the bottom instead. That. Where's my yellow? I'm going to jump off anyways. Might as well do it one way. Yeah, the laptop we passed on to our son turned out to be a good choice to do that, because initially he wanted it for Minecraft, but he very quickly decided after that he was going to use it for, I think he was playing Forza, he's been playing Valheim, he's been playing, what else? A number of other things, but one of the things my husband originally bought it for, oops, yeah, not long enough. One of the things he originally bought it for was to play, oh shoot, Battletech, I believe. And so we've got, yeah. Did I just do that the way I thought I did? Yes, I did. Mistakes. Oops. Yay! I managed to actually make that pro strat work. Normally I don't get to climb by water. List of streaming buddies. That's funny. Does that mean that at some point we will see Arch Thunder streaming himself? Ha 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 ha. Nudge nudge wink wink. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Actually, you know, people say if I won the lottery I would do X or Y or buy all these time-saving devices, and then they realize that you can't actually time save. It doesn't really work. There's no real thing, no real such thing as time saving beyond a particular point. You max out, and whether it be apps or hardware or hire more people or whatever, personally one has a limit of how far one's able to go. So yeah, there are only so many hours in the day, as we like to say, right? All right, so let's see. Bedtime. I'm not too surprised not to see PP Zerk this morning. She does tend to hang out in this channel, but she spent, I don't know what she was up to last night, but she definitely was spending a lot of time online, quite late. So I would not be surprised if she opted instead just to sleep in. I mean, I would. I totally would. Okay, so let's see. First one, yellow. And then those 3. And then 2 more. Yep, this is looking weird, but that's just because I realized that my light tone on the picture, on the picture I'm copying is a bit darker than what the reality is. That's okay. Because I have my screen turned up bright, and I don't know why this person didn't for making tutorial videos, but they don't have their brightness turned up. So yeah, everybody does things differently. Okay, what's this? Terracotta? No. I'm trying to decide. Where did I put that? Okay. 1, 2. Buckle my shoe. 2, 3. I think it's that color. All right. Interesting order of operations? Which particular element were you referring to there? Oops, wrong ones. I need the white, not that. So I'm doing it in one tone. What I mean is I'm putting these blocks in one tone, but then I may end up swapping part of it out later on. The reason for that is that I want to have my bee house look a little bit like it's got some honey in it, but that doesn't work super well if because the yellow honey looks great on the honey hives itself, but when you do it on a giant one like this, it actually makes the side look very monotone, I guess would probably be a good way of putting it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with that. Okay. What is this? Brown terracotta, concrete. I'm missing... Oh, I'm not missing color. Right on the corner, it looks like it's something different, so I'm not totally sure. Let's go with this. 2, 3. Okay. Arch buying gear for his streamer friends and then worrying about a house. Yeah. No, I totally understand. Different job types often necessitate different sets of needs with regards to space at home. I'm sure Fantastic Sherlock Fox could tell you a story or two about some of his coworkers who, during the pandemic, had all kinds of unique places that they needed to work from just because they didn't actually have home offices. So I do follow that very clearly. It makes plenty of sense. And besides, everybody's got their forte. And for some, it's streaming. And for some, it's helping out in other ways. And as I see it, you are very, very welcome in talents and helping other people out with your talents, even if you can't actually stream. So it's not an entire loss that you're busy and that your host doesn't accommodate streaming. Besides, you realize if you did start streaming, I'm sure somebody else would suddenly decide, oh my, we can make use of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Arch has extra skills. Yes, we need to ask him to do more at his extracurricular volunteer activities than we already do. And wow, you do so much already that I'm surprised that you don't just have to tell people to back off every once in a while. Like audio technician, wow, that's one of the pieces that I'm really, really fussy about, and I don't think I would be ever satisfied. You'd pity the contractor who's got you as a client. Yes and no. It's funny. We talked about building our own house, and then we decided we weren't going to. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At the time, at least, we decided we weren't going to. And then we changed our minds again. Not exactly in the built a house decision, but that we instead bought a spec home that happened to have everything we wanted. It wasn't perfect because there are still things we've learned since then that we would change. Strangely enough, some of the electrical, actually. But where are we? Okay. Yeah, we would change out some of the electrical stuff if we were to do it ourselves. However, can't talk today. However, it has most of the stuff that we would want. Professor Sherlock Fox and I each have our own little personal bugbears that bother us different quantities, and some of them are worth fixing and some of them are not. And most of mine generally fall into the are not items. They're the nice to haves, but the not essentials. Dark. Is that concrete? Oh, and I got this one wrong. Which layer am I on, anyways? I get talking and I lose track of where I'm at. 3 and up. And this one. Okay. That's because I made this part wrong. Nope, I didn't. Huh. I'll have to figure it out afterwards. Okay. Pick a spot and just go with it. Yellow, okay, gray. Yellow. Oh, haha. Yeah, gonna have a problem if I skip a row entirely. I don't know if I'd pity the contractor that has you as a client. I mean, you seem quite sensible, and that sounds weird to say, but you seem quite sensible. And in some respects, although you may be a pain in terms of making them give you what you want, I don't think you would be the type of personality who would be super annoying in terms of not knowing what you want and trying to get something that is just actually impossible. You know, that's one of many contractors' biggest bugbears, is when somebody wants the impossible and they just refuse to listen to reason as to why you cannot give them said impossible. There we go. So that'd be... So I really don't think you'd be that kind of person. And the other thing, I mean, within reason, if you're building your place, I suspect the bits you would be most fussy about are the ones where you legitimately know what you are talking about. Wool. Huh. Okay. Yet another texture I forgot. That's okay. We can do this. Do I have... I put away the extra blocks. Where did I put those? Do I think 30 is going to cut it? We shall find out. Oops. Come on. There we go. 30 is a good start anyway. And the other thing about the being a contractor is I'm quite glad that I didn't have to deal with that. I was pregnant with our daughter when we got our basement finished, and so most of the contractor work, like interfacing with the foreman and so on, was something that Fantastic Sherlock Fox had to do. Partly because when it really got down to the point where I had to have more or somebody would have had to have more interaction with them, they'd already had dust and chemicals and whatever else going in the basement, and so that was not necessarily the healthiest thing for me as a pregnant mom. So he got stuck with doing a lot of that, and if there's something critical I needed to know in an instant sort of way, then he would text me photos. But it wasn't like I wouldn't go down there, it was just tried to avoid it when I could. Let's see. Okay, so we got there. Mm-hmm. Yellow. Oh, it's terracotta. Okay, where did... Don't need the green. Concrete blocks. Gray. We'll swap with the gray. Just try to figure out the most convenient way to set everything up on my bar so that I've got what I need where I need it. Okay. And 1, 2, 3. It's funny. Yellow concrete looks really bright in my interface, but when I actually put it down, it's not that bad. How far away? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, and a couple more yellows. But now I'm way up here on the roof, which means I should probably go for another nap. My ability to hit a 1x1 square of water is not super useful. So jumping off the wall instead of scaffolding isn't a great plan for me. Let's see, Arch, you're saying the bits you're most fussy about are the insulation and vapor barrier. Not exactly your trade, but you turn down your nose at the fancy products being used on so-called eco-houses now. I would agree with the caveat, but that's partly because I know a contractor who does those. a company in our neighborhood, or not in our neighborhood, sorry, in Calgary, owned by one of my buddies, I guess. The, full disclosure there. They've actually started experimenting. They do mostly industrial construction, but they also do some home rental stuff too. And they have been experimenting with the spray insulation stuff that kind of starts looking like, spray foam, really, on an industrial scale. And have been having some pretty good results with it in terms of their testing. Now, this guy is a bit of a fun goofball, I guess, to explain that. But he likes building small-scale models of things. And not even 2-scale per se, but just smaller versions of stuff before he builds large things or before he accepts a new product into his company. So one of the ways they were testing this product out to see if they were going to want to use it on a grander quantity was he helped out our Cub Scouts making an entranceway to sort of I guess you'd say a station or a stopover point for one of their camp projects. They went to a multi-group camp where they were doing a theme of myths, and they needed to have an entrance to their area. So their theme that the Cub Pack had picked... Oops, wrong one. One more. The theme that the Cub Pack had picked was to have Bigfoot as their theme. So what this gentleman did was he used his connections with the spray foam to do up a cave style entrance for the Cub group to their area. So they had an activity that was Bigfoot themed inside their zone, but he used the spray foam to build the cave. And then after that was done, I mean, he was taking temperatures inside the cave and outside the cave, and deciding whether or not he actually thought it was going to be comparable to standard insulation R value, which he'd done in the back part of the cave that nobody was going to see. It was just kind of funny that he did a one-off project in such a way that he was able to make use of it in an industrial sense, which was to our advantage because it allowed him to do the write-offs that we were quite happy about. Nobody wanted to argue with him on that front. Okay, ran out of that. See if we can go up from here. So yeah, I mean, they call them eco houses, and I find the term eco is so overused. I say that, I guess, tongue-in-cheek in a way, but the reason I think the term eco is overused has to do with, let's see, what color? Oops, wrong one. That was supposed to be lighter. All right. But the reason I say the term eco is overused is that you never really know what it means when somebody says eco. They could be referring to... Oh, I got colors all over the place. They could be referring to eco as in good for the environment during the build, or in some cases they mean eco as in after the build's over, it becomes good for the environment. And yeah, this one should have been a different color. It becomes good for the environment in the way that maybe it off gases, or maybe in the way that it well, that's really light. Oh well. Or maybe in the way that it burns energy, or like there's a half a dozen different reasons that people could be using that term. So I just find it overused without definition. But I'm sure there's probably industry accepted ways to use that term. It's just not something I'm familiar with. Okay. What did I do there? Only the second row, right? Oh, right. Okay. So that's where the concrete goes. All right. So I got myself to a bit of a stop. Let's go back and finish this corner, because I can finish up to the top on this one. I've only got one more row. This one. And that one. And then I can stop back and see if I like the look or if I want to change it out to something else. Now I do have to stop here because it goes on top of another block and I don't have that other block. Concrete! So, we were short on gravel. I'm just going to run in and see if I've got any, because I don't want to get too far. I'm going to need a lot more, I guess, so I should probably go digging, but I want to see what I've got to start with. Hello? It's funny, so many of these games, I really wish the run speed was faster. What's this? Do I have? It's 15. That won't get me much. Yellow. Come on. That'll get me 32, I guess. It's a start. Gotta get finished on this side anyways. Take a look while I'm back here and see what I think of it. Even if I convert... Oh, actually, might as well just do that. I'm gonna grab some black dye so I can make those 6 blocks I need. Do I have... I'll drop. There we go. But yeah, I really do wish, like, running or walking and then running. Oops, let's try the straight ground. There's walking. And here's running. It doesn't feel very different. I know it's probably because I haven't eaten. That probably makes a big difference, and I need to keep track of that. I suppose they usually do mean low energy use after build. I guess that makes sense. But as much as I would like our house to be more ecological in that respect, we have both human elements involved in that, as well as the materials in the building. There are parts of the building that are too well sealed when it comes to moisture release. So we end up having to sacrifice on heat retention in the winter, just because we end up with too much condensation. Okay. So yeah, by having too much condensation in the building... Oops, do I? Just trying to lose track of which line I'm on. And I'm not even sure how I got that far up. Okay. Let's back this up. So I couldn't do this top part because concrete goes on here. And you know what might help? If I remember to actually make the concrete. I need speed potions or a horse or wings or the ability to not forget to eat. Because I just realized that's a lot faster. That's wool. That's not concrete. Wow. Good one, Dylan. Oh boy. Is it going to be one of those days? I actually went to get fresh coffee to bring down to my stream from our coffee machine. And it was good. I usually remember to throw in an ice cube before I start, but I did not remember today. So it was a very quick rush from having my coffee sip to my water bottle. Oops. It's a good thing I don't have to stream tomorrow, because when I do silly things like that, I tend to need to not talk heavily for a day or so, just because my tongue will get a little swollen and itchy and those sorts of things. Okay, let's just get this stuff out of the road. Not too bad cutting from the bottom rather than the top. Actually, probably faster in the long run for me. It's funny, you've seen me jumping down from things. That's kind of new in that I don't mind doing so. I didn't always have feather falling 3 boots right off the bat. That would be quite nice. But when it comes to flying, I can't seem to take off, whether it be Java or or bedrock. I even jump off things and I don't manage to fly. And then my landing skills are incredibly weak. It's one of those things that requires practice, but definitely not something I'm going to be practicing on stream. Yeah, oh, I see. You want to specifically address condensation. For sure. Like, if we could address the condensation in our master bath, then we would. I understand why they did the wet wall the way they did in our house. In that the wet wall is organized so that you've got, like the toilet and the bathtub are sort of together, like the head of the bathtub, and then they've got the shower next. But in terms of heat retention, I actually would have rather had the shower and the tub switched. So like toilet, then shower wall, then bathtub. Just because... Oops, where did I go here? Just because that would allow us to potentially heat up and create the steam that we like in the bathroom a little bit earlier or a little bit quicker before we actually have to deal with quite as much of the condensation. But, you know. Wishes, horses, and all that jazz. And all that jazz. Okay. So this one is terracotta, I think. Oh, no, that's not looking right. Maybe. We'll go with it. And then this one, if I did it right... 1, 2, 3... Okay. So somewhere in here, I have dropped a row. That's going to be interesting. I'm trying to figure out, did I mess up on top of the hive part, or did I mess up on top of the other part? I'm just measuring the doors here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Okay, I think I know what I've done. So near the scaffolding there, I should have gone to the darker yellow a little bit earlier, and then I've got 2 rows above that. So I'm not actually that messed up. Ouch. 0 insulation inside the walls, roofing grade peel and stick outside the walls, and then all insulation on top of that. Huh. I'm not really sure what that would be like. That I've actually never thought about that style. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. This one will be terracotta, I believe. 4, and I should have 3 blocks. Okay. I think I've recovered myself. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. Yeah. Okay, that we are back on track to finish this one correctly. 1 and 2. And then it should be wool across the top. And then I can just jump. And we are done side 1. So, because you joined late, Arch, I had mentioned in DC's Discord and a couple other places, as well as in stream, that I had, unfortunately, forgotten that if you don't pen your bees in, they will go walkabout and potentially disappear on you. On top of that, I believe I've crossed the chunk border line with the little grouping I had. So that may have had something to do with it. I'm not fully certain. But in any case, no bees. No bees. So it means that I just need to go hunting for bees again, and or to buy some from a server mate. But in the meantime, I decided that I should probably just build a house so that once I've got them, and get the farm itself built, where I don't really need the inhabitants to be inside, and then I can, in good conscience, go for something else. Okay, so this is side 1. Now I'm just going to do a quick derailment and just grab enough gravel to be able to do, well, because I'm going to need some more sand and everything, to do up some more of the concrete, because those lime ones are there for a reason, and I really do want to swap those out. Ooh, whoops. Stepped off the edge, forgetting I was there. Okay. I don't mind taking this spot out. It's just that, like at some point I may actually turn this little area into a bay for another idea I've got. I mentioned a while back one of the pieces I'm waffling about is doing some sort of reference to Death on the Nile, but probably involving some sort of Mississippi-style steamboat. I know that seems like a weird combination. I have not seen the latest version of the Death on the Nile movie with Kenneth Branagh. I really should take the time to do that. That might inform my decision with regards to the boat to be used, but I could probably build it in and around this area. And then I believe one can waterlog stuff under, like, lanterns and stuff. I cannot recall. But anyways, whether I get them down deep enough or not, I can try and put some blocks in there that will light up a little bit. Or I might actually just dig up enough dirt to... see, does that actually go elsewhere? Actually, it's just a little cave that disappears, so I might actually just dig up enough dirt to fill in that bit, because it's just a bit of a conscience thing. Too deep, and I'm gonna get drowns. 51, okay. Not having sand or underwater delay is really, really helpful. I had never really thought about just how useful that was going to be. Nope. Time for a meeting, so off into the fog. Well, officially I'm almost done anyways. I think the first wall is a good place to start. I will probably complete a lot of the building offline, just because the rest of the bee farm is not that exciting. But as much as I want to put my work into the bee farm, I really should spend more of that time on the terracotta nonsense that is the yellow thing, and just get a move on with that one, so that at least I get to the point where I'm done with everything except except the honey portion. That's probably my smartest move. So, yeah. So, Arch, you're probably familiar with my schedule by now, but just in case you're not, I do Java Minecraft Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 to noon our time, and on Wednesdays is the alternate game of some sort. So, I will probably be back on Tuesday, but depending on how itchy fingered I get, we'll see whether or not I throw in a random surprise stream from time to time. There's things I just want to play, and if, like some other streamers have decided, if you want to play, you might as well just fire it up and go for it. But we'll see. I don't know. It's unlikely. Make no plans, no promises. But yeah, if you see a surprise notification, it's just because I decided to play something different. So I will probably get a better slot here. Just disappear off to the side. And there we go. Yeah, that'll do for now. Okay. F3 and G. Oops. Turn me around. Doesn't help to look at the building. So, we've got... let's put anything and everything in there. Even that's better. Okay, so we will say goodbye for now, and I will see you guys again on Tuesday for some more Minecraft off DC73's server. So wish you a great weekend, and hope everything goes great. Thanks. Oops. And have a great day.